to be your own best friend in 3 easy steps. I'm looking over here, and I know I'm supposed to be looking here, but I feels more comfortable looking here. So don't mind the video if I'm looking in a different direction than what is more comfortable, which is eye level here. I can keep eye contact. It's just I'm looking over here. That's it. Anyways, how to become your own best friend in 3 easy steps. Let's get into it.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
So in order to do so, you must enter the role of the observer. That is always the role you want to be in, especially if you want to have a successful relationship with yourself. You always have to be the observer. You have to be observing. So we're entering the role of the observer. The observer is the judge. You're judging your thoughts and your feelings. If you want to have a great partnership with yourself, with the vessel that's housing the observer, that you want to make sure that you are taking accountability. Well, we're going to get into that. But first, you have to structure your mind to be the observer at all times. You are observing yourself. You are observing your vessel. You are observing your thoughts and your feelings, right? So after we get into that position, that's the way that you're going to start off your friendship. That's the intention, always. That's always the intention. So we're setting the intention. Alright, so step one is to understand that your bestie is never going to be perfect. You're never always going to get it right. So if you set that intention, that you know that mistakes are going to happen, that you're going to mess up, you're not always going to make the best decision based on your observation, your thoughts and your feelings. Sometimes you're not going to catch every thought, every feeling, and sometimes it's not that you're making a mistake. Maybe it's a lesson that you're having to learn. Maybe it's a lesson that you're having to learn, and that's just emotion right at the moment. So give yourself some grace. Give your bestie some slack. Don't be too harsh. Forgive. Understand that mistakes happen. So you want to build that safe haven for your bestie, for yourself. You want to make sure that you're not too harsh on yourself. But as we get into the second step on how to be your best friend, you're not giving yourself too much like slack. Okay, whatever, do whatever, make all the mistakes. No, you understand that mistakes happen and you're bound to make mistakes, and your bestie is bound to mess up, and sometimes you're not going to be the perfect judge of your thoughts and your feelings. And sometimes those thoughts and feelings, that combination may turn into may manifest into an external event, and that external event could just very well be a lesson that you guys are going through as a unit, to make you a better judge and to make your vessel stronger, which leads to the second step. You understand that your bestie is mistake prone. You may make mistakes. It's not always perfect. You're co-creating together. You're co-creating for yourself. So second step is accountability. Now, you need to be honest and vulnerable and transparent with yourself, with your bestie. You have to know the expectations and the goals that will make this experience, not only for your vessel, but for the judge, the one that's looking at the experience that you're going through, the thoughts and the feelings that you're experiencing. And it's like, okay, I like this experience. This experience is good for us. This is not. So you got to hold yourself accountable. You really, really have to do that. You can't cut yourself. Everything is not a mistake. Everything is not whatever. You have to, at some point, start gaining trust in yourself that, okay, you're not doing it right. I judge the situation. This is the goal that we need to meet. This is what we need to do. And based on the goal, whatever the experience that you're trying to experience down here on this realm, then there's certain things that you need to do. There's certain routines and patterns that you need to go through, you need to work on, because that's what we're doing. We're working on things. We can't escape the work. Every species down here is working towards something, whether it's building a nest, whether it's um, whatever, building a den, migrating. Everyone's working. We're all working. You just depend. It just depends on you, the work that you want to do. I prefer the work, the internal work, aside from all the physical. But I know the physical um, and the external is a given. We have to give, and we have to give to ourselves. We have to work on ourselves. We have to work on building the society. It's just what our species does. That's just how we build as a unit. So we're always going to be building no matter what. You just have to have ability with yourself on what you're trying to build. You're trying to build a better mental and emotional experience for yourself. You have to keep yourself accountable for that. Like, that is what you're trying to work on. That is what the experience that you're trying to go through down here, in this realm of possibilities. Then there is accountability needs to be had for that. Like, you need to know that, okay, you you made this mistake. Now it's time to get it together. You have to kind of build trust with yourself that you're not always going to be slacking on your goals, on whatever it is, whether it is emotional health, how to be a better parent, how to have financial freedom within the society that we're creating. Whatever it is that you're doing requires a level of discipline and routine. Whatever we're working towards, animals and other species are very disciplined within what they're working towards. They go out, they hunt, they get their things together. We have to do the same. We're not exempt to the rules. We're just a creature too. Um, we don't get a bypass. It's just we're creating differently. We get to create with the mental realm. We get to create with the physical realm. And that's why we're higher consciousness. We're in a different race. So accountability for whatever experience you're building down here. Know when to cut yourself slack, but know when enough slack is enough and is interfering with you and the goal at hand. And by having accountability, I do want to add, sets a level of trust between you and your bestie, yourself. So if you can trust your best friend, if your best friend could keep you accountable, if there's that level of like consistent, I'm looking out for you, you're looking out for me, a vibe you have with yourself, the more trust you have in yourself, the more trust that you're going to have in the decisions that you're going to make. And you start noticing the routines and patterns towards whatever you're trying to build. And you're like, okay, I'm showing up. Which leads to actually my third step is to always show up for yourself. I guess we'll go into step number 3. Step number 3 on how to be your own best friend, your own bestie, is to always show up for yourself. And that's as simple as that. Be present. Really take into consideration what you're building. And you can only know what you're building when you're showing up for your best friend. You have to show up. You have to be present. You have to be the observer. You can't escape the observer role. The quicker we go into that role, then we're going to be able to judge the things that we're creating, the thoughts and feelings that we're experiencing that are passing through us. Because, thoughts and feelings are fleeting. They come and go, and you can hack the program by inserting a new thought and a new feeling, and then that feeling is gone, and you have a new one. So show up for yourself, show up for your bestie, celebrate yourself in the work that you're doing. We all, as we're creating, you have to look back and take a look at your creation. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing whatever I'm setting out to do. I'm being healthier. I'm doing whatever good for me. I've done it 4 days in a row, 3 days in a row. I've done it 5 years in a row. I've built on this. 7 years in a row, 8 years in a row, whatever it is, show up for yourself. Make sure you're present so you can celebrate those moments. Not only celebrate the moments of victory and progress and success for whatever you're trying to build in this lifetime, but also show up for yourself so you can know, like I mentioned, so you can know what it is that you're creating, so you're present and you're going in the right direction. What kind of best friend would you be if you're not showing up and you're not mindfully looking at the direction that your best friend is going? You're not going to let your best friend run into a ditch. If you're a good friend, you're not. So that is part of showing up, is making sure that you're present, so that um that partnership is not going into the ditch. You're just not letting it, you're not letting yourself slack, so you're keeping yourself accountable. You're knowing when to, okay, it's a mistake, let go and move on. Continue creating. So you know when to give yourself slack, give yourself grace. You know how to keep yourself accountable, and you know how to show up for yourself, which really showing up for yourself encompasses all three steps. So that's the shortcut right there. Show up for yourself. But how you show up for yourself is within steps 1 and 2. Giving yourself grace, keeping yourself accountable is a dance between not pushing and pulling, not doing, letting some stuff go, but pushing yourself forward towards that goal. So that's the dance you have to do. And that's the easy 3 steps on how to become your best friend. And once you do those things and you show up for yourself and you keep yourself accountable and you give yourself grace, why wouldn't you want to be friends with yourself? Like after that, like that is a magnificent friend that has your best interests at heart. And that's what you always should have, is your best interests at heart. So go out there and be your own bestie. Be the best bestie you can be. There are more than 3 steps to becoming your best friend, but these are the baseline steps. You can't go wrong with doing this. So start there. Start with those 3 easy things. And then you'll get more into understanding what it is that your best friend likes, what it is that your best friend doesn't like. And then you can start getting into the steps of boundaries. And then you can start building your own 12-step program on how to become your own best friend. And then you'll have your own guidelines and your own steps that you can possibly teach to someone else or put out. Like I'm putting out my experience with my best friend, myself, and someone can learn from it. But yeah, these are the baseline steps. I think everyone should have this as a beginning step on how to become your own best friend, or how to be your own best friend. And if you are doing these things for yourself, then since you're in the observer role, then start making up new rules. Or not new rules, new steps for yourself, and share them. Share them with me. Share them with the world. YouTube has created or cultivated a space when we can all point the camera at our observer and speak from that perspective. So your perspective will differ from mine because we're all having individual experiences as a collective. So I think it's very important for all of us to share our experience and see what we can trade off with each other. Like we're, what is it called? Bargaining and gaining from each other. You're telling me what you do to help your vessel, and I'm telling you what I do to help my vessel, and then each one can teach one, and eventually we can all get to a space where we're all observing, we're all making better decisions, we're less in animalistic survival mode where we're making horrible decisions, and then it's like, dang, that I wasn't acting like myself, or you're just on autopilot, not really taking accountability for the things that you're creating, for the situations you're creating, for who you are at the current moment, because you are what you are creating at the moment. The moment you decide to create something different, then you become that. That is it. You can't run. I wish you can kind of snap your finger and run away from doing the work, but we're here. There's no escaping it. So just start creating and working towards a better existence for yourself, whatever better is for you. Because everyone, again, It's important to share our experiences because everyone has a different perspective on what better or fulfilling is. This is it. We're all running a different race. But we all have one thing in common. We can all think of and intellectualize this experience and share it with each other